Good morning and welcome to Enterprise Friday on Enterprise TV, your daily dose of news, information, and inspiration as we head into the weekend. I'm Choma Okohia.
And I am Henry Igwebike.
We're excited to share today's top stories, trending topics, and engaging discussions with you. But before we head into our newspapers this morning, we urge you to be a part of our community by following us all across our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. And kindly visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com.
All right, so with us today in the studios to do fine, and of course have an awesome discussion, conversation, of course, with us today. We have Barrister Vansu Feli, a barrister at law, public affairs analyst, and Cyril Abaku, journalist and public affairs commentator. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And welcome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's kickstart our day today with the first daily. What do we have?
We have the Punch newspaper on our desk, and we'll be starting with a big story here. Petrol price hike. Ipman tackles NNPCL, threatens to stop operations. And we have a rider to the particular story. Marketers accuse NNPCL of inflating Dangote petrol price. Merman continues loading subsidized PMS. Details of that particular story are on page 2 when you grab a copy of the Punch newspaper.
All right, on the topmost strip of the Punch newspaper, we have Nolgi threatens to shoot over governor's bill to control local government funds.
Okay, let's get into the financial part. And 7 banks pay 392 billion naira tax. That is coming. That's a report. And details of that particular report are on page 25.
And also on the bottom strip here, we have why military hasn't gone after Asari Dokubo.
Okay,
And that's coming from the DHQ.
sorry about that. Okay, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, you see a picture, and it's talking about someone who inspects ongoing 7-story new Mercy Children Hospital. Now, the pictures are there, and you see the governor with some of the engineers and those working inside. And I think the proposed building and how it's supposed to be, it's by the side of the other picture.
All right, but let's get into the main story of this course here. Why military hasn't gone after Asari Dokubo. We have it here that the defense headquarters stated on Thursday that it chose not to go after former Niger Delta militant warlord Mujahid Asari Dokubo to avoid being accused of acting undemocratically. The director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, made this remark in Abuja while responding to a recent report about Asari Dokubo's alleged threat to shoot down a military helicopter that had reportedly hovered around his residence. Addressing journalists, the DHQ spokesman described Asari Dokubo's threat as laughable, challenging him to confront soldiers on the battlefield if he was bold enough. Pastor Vansifeli, should we be really having this sort of discussion in a democratic nation like Nigeria, where there's law and order, where there's rule of law, where every element of the society should be responsible for every duty they are assigned to?
There's no law and order in Nigeria. That I just want to correct that. You know, when you reckon with non-state actors, okay, and you as a country, a collective, give them roles like surveillance, pipeline surveillance, instead of your navy, you have emboldened them to challenge the sovereign, because he sees himself now as a subset of the security apparatus of the state. Any state that does that is failing. So he now will challenge them and say, if a helicopter hover around my village, or even if they're on surveillance or investigation on something else, not him, and then he will say he will shoot it down. That is because the sovereign is weak. It has given non-state actors powers that they do not possess, or that they think they possess. And so you have things like that. Asari Dokubo had made so many threatening statements
against the state,
even against the public. He said it that those who come out to protest in August, You understand? That he will kill people, he will destroy, he will maim and all that. That Bola Tinubu is the substantive president of Nigeria and must remain so as long as he's, he's been doing that. And when he issued that statement against the public, the government did not caution him. But you know one thing about this kind of irregularities, or one thing about the monster, is that if you own a monster, you have to also stay very clear from the same monster you own. Because it may take your life as much as it can take the life of any other person. It's like somebody, how was dinosaur forced into extinction? If you have read history, there was a time when dinosaur became a threat to humanity. A dinosaur, one, can enter this community now and kill everybody in 2 hours. And destroy the building, climb on the building and just eliminate. The world came together and this one is before this first, Second World War thing. We're talking about ancient times. So what I'm saying is, from the outset, the government have used Asari Dokubo on security matters. So he sees himself now as an apparatus with equal status with the army or the whatsoever. So he's making those kind of statements. And they are, by the wayside, telling you that we're not going to go after him. Because if you go after him, to become, say, undemocratic or the rest of that. What authority does he even have to say that we shoot down helicopter? He's indirectly telling us that he bear arms.
Definitely.
Which is illegal.
But he said he has a registered mercenary group which is registered under the government.
Registered under which government? Let him bring the certificate. So he has a armed mercenary group that is registered under the government to shoot down government helicopters.
Okay.
Does his jurisdiction extend to shooting down? There is no one in this country that have the right to, not even the court. That's why we condemn that judgment, to stop the military, the police, or whatever from carrying out their constitutional duty. Helicopter hovering around your house is part of the responsibility, or anywhere. Its surveillance is whatever it is anywhere in the country. You cannot say that if investigation is going on, it should not come within your space. You can't do that.
Well, at this point now, Sarah, let's look at it from this angle. I would say, sorry, Dokubo, there's something he's trying to hide, and definitely he is threatening to shut down the helicopter.
I'm glad the army said that if they retaliated, that
They had gone over him.
reacted to be undemocratic. I agree with them and I commend them. And I'm glad Henry curiously also picked up the word and you almost laughed. Because the defense spokesman, not the defense spokesman also said it was laughable and that it was about to laugh about the matter. Now, let me take it off from where Barrister Felix stopped. One of the core tenets of democracy is accountability. That you have the right to hold government and institutions to account. So they owe you the power they have, you give it to them. The money they spend is your money. Everything they are doing, they turn on your behalf. Because we can't hold the government at the same time, if you know what I mean. Now, in time past, when people said these sort of things, government will not only respond to the thing you said, but we also know that they are accountable to explain what the helicopter was doing. Actually, but if you read everything Buba said, there was nothing about whether there was even a helicopter over Asari's house, whether it belonged to them. You know that if you are there are some places where airplanes, airplanes have air route. Where students and you're not supposed to hear the sound of airplanes over a student environment. We were told that many years ago. But if when I was in my childhood, back in the hometown, election days, under Abacha, we had these local government elections. You see helicopter come after the victory and then everything will do. Immediately helicopter will come over very low. Maybe it was not scaring us not to go. Well, helicopter, it will go back. There's a reason for it. Before any helicopter leaves the army barracks or anywhere, there will be inventory of who the pilot is, where it is going, what is the mission. Everything was a covert operation. But Asari's house looked to me like a civilian environment. So if the helicopter was hovering there, I'm not saying it shouldn't hover like Barrister said. But who sent it? What did it go out there to do? Are we about to declare Asari a fugitive or something? Did he commit any crime? Do you want to arrest, call him for questioning? This same Asari Dokbo was in Aso Rock about this time last year. After meeting the president for several hours, he came out and said, yeah, he and the president have been friends for nearly 30 years. Then he now standing right there in State House, boldly accused,
Indict the army
indicted the military hierarchy. These things are not.
and got away with it.
Oh, come on.
So is it just to talk that I will not come?
Come on. I'm sorry. Somebody, an unknown quantity. Who is he? A Nigerian, yes, but he went and stood imagine if somebody at the White House and say all these people are the Pentagon are corrupt. Do you know what that means? He will have to prove what he means by they are corrupt. But he stood there and said all the ILTF going on are the military top brass.
It's the Navy.
Is the Navy. He accused, and the president was quiet. The next thing, the president fired. But in my opinion, I'm thinking, if it's the president can ease them out, if he felt the time is up, why did he decide to come and tarnish their record, tarnish their email before he let them out of office? But that is fine. So this is the president's friend, right? He feels they have the backing of high powers. And so when a country where a non-state actor, a citizen just like you and me will come out and say, I saw a helicopter on top of my house and I'm going to watch. Well, after there are some people like Toji and others do it in Niger, in Niger and another place where they shot down military helicopter. In fact, one of the recent one, the pilot escaped. The helicopter landed. I think he used parachute and came out of it. Then, according to the military story, then he escaped and found his way to military park. That's a see. My dear brother and sister, while we talk about that side, let us not leave the bigger picture of the lack of accountability. And see, let me say this. The other time it was Yaya Bello's house. And it's such a shame. For 5 hours, EFCC operatives went to his house. Police resisted them. EFCC people are policemen. Where they are policemen. They have the edge of police protect to. If the EFCC could have called their chairman, he could have called the NSA, who could have called the IGP to allow them arrest Yaya Bello. They didn't do it. 5 hours later, Governor Dodo comes in, frees Yaya Bello, and goes out with him, the hero. A lot of these operations, let me say this here, don't have approval from the bosses. It may just be somebody. So that it is the reason he will say he wants to laugh. Was the helicopter deployed there? And for what purpose?
Even if it did, it's debasing for a civilian to scorn at a formation like the military in this particular case.
You know that it would be abnormal to see a military helicopter over this place. Even if by territorial whatever, as Barrister said, they can perform their functions anywhere. It's okay. We see in Hollywood films where police people regularly use helicopter to chase. Even in the government, they bought helicopters to support police work. He will also bought another one for as an air ambulance. So it's okay. But where I'm going is that you see, when power bounds to flattery, honor is bound to plainness. I think that's what Shakespeare said. When power bounds, so when power brings itself, what do you think is going to go to the gutter and hope to be a saint there?
See,
that's what has happened.
Very unfortunate if you ask me. But if we take a look at Sudan, that's what got them to the war. So Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Forces, of course, because just like Barrister did say, when a third party is given that opportunity, before you know what happened, they become part of government.
As a part of the Nigerian, shall I say, mistake for some time. Let me explain. Asari and I are brothers by tribe. From the same state. If he speaks the language, I'll know what he's saying. Maybe not everything, but up to 90% of what he's saying now here. Same, I believe, I imagine same if I speak my language will be here. So, but we're not talking sentiment and tribal, whatever, ethnic, anything here. When Jonathan was president, this same media, people were shouting and saying he was giving popular contract. Asari has invested in the Republic and so on. Now, Buhari has gone. Tinubu has found Asari use has found him
Worthy.
to be instrumental and worthy for his government. I don't know to probe that. Is it proper? Is it right? And what is the fruit of this worthiness of wealth? First, in Asari, he threatens the military. Next, in his own, he's threatening the military. And you know what? Let me tell you, because it's a style of law. Threatening to down a military plane, they would have called it a name by now. This Nigerian state that I mean, they would have said it is treason. They would have gone to pick him up.
But that was it is now.
Yes, they would have gone. So the question is, I know you are saying now, why should a normal citizen, you know, you now you have the answer.
Protesters.
Why is government not if it was bad enough for him to have said what he said? Why is it not? Why have they not gone to do something about it? You are saying I'm talking about it.
Yes, protesters didn't even make any pronouncement. They just said that there's bad governance and they want to occupy the streets. And the next thing we saw was police all over the place. Okay. Why have they not used the police to go and arrest Asari Dokubo? You understand? Whether the police will won't stand his firepower.
It's true.
You understand? So this country, when a sovereign begin to defer to individuals, the country has failed. Country has failed because no one person is bigger than the government. So this one now is, and you know, this kind of thing, you know what? If you begin to nurse this kind of thing for a long time, okay, when things really degenerate, those state actors will come and start making pronouncements. In these African countries, war-torn African countries, they call them rebels. Because that's what they become in terms of crisis. They will now start to own territories within the country and begin to threaten the sovereign for that you cannot cross here. This is our own. Asari does that.
And that's how we got the ESN.
ESN. And if you look at the other countries, you know, the Republic of, what do you call it? Somalia, even Rwanda in the past and all that. You need to have Sierra Leone, Liberia and all that. You need to have those kind of distortion. At the end of the day, you now have a full-blown war where, you know, it is only those who have capacity to either flee or those who are left are annihilated. So the Nigerian state should not degenerate to that level. All these non-state actors, a proper decision must be taken. Asari Dokubo, for example, now, what does he represent? Is he a sociocultural group? Does he lead? Yeah, because for the Afenifere, we know they are sociocultural. For Arewa, we know that they are this, and for Ones and Digo, we know they are this. But there are people like Igbowo, Asari Dokubo, and some other miscreants that we have. Why should a sovereign, you know, keep them issuing threats at the slightest provocation? The helicopter of the military or the police or whatever can fly to
anywhere, definitely.
Can land anywhere it chooses to land, as long as it is in the interest of the collective good of the people. You understand? So when you now threaten that you will shoot it down, what exactly do you mean?
Thank you, Barrister Evans.
Very true.
Thank you.
Yes, from one issue to another, the Guardian newspaper, we have a plethora of them here. And the big story here says, war against corruption, where anti-graft eagle turns a blind eye to sacred cows.
Okay, moving on, still on the Guardian newspaper. My husband not greedy, working for better future. That is coming from the First Lady.
Yes.
But details are on page 3.
And right below that story, we have Atiku, CUPPTUC, orders knock Tinubu over handling of fuel subsidy.
Okay, moving on. Shatima, Carlo, Abiodun decry rising population of educated kids. Urge action. Details are on page 29.
All right, so let's take reps kick against multiple tax burdens on Nigerians. Gentlemen, let's take a look at two very important stories. We started from, of course, the issue between Asari and the Nigerian state. Now we have the EFCC again. Where anti-graft eagle turns a blind eye to a sacred cows. Speak to us on this, Vice Basiveli.
Well, apart from at the risk of not analyzing a story I've not read, I appear to understand the metaphor where an anti-grav eagle stares away from sacred cows. Okay, is the story of the EFCC. We have seen the case of Yabelo, how it's going.
Yeah.
We've seen the case of Obiano, how it's going. And the many cases of very prominent and high-profile people in Nigeria and how their case go. Apart from the Rogers Okaro's case and the former governor of Taraba State's case and maybe one other case, which were actually prosecution that were undertaken during the PDP reign, but conviction granted during the APC reign. There's no reasonable case we've had of conviction of a high-profile individual in the country, apart from maybe Yahoo boys or those who internet fraudsters and some other cases. That is where you see EFCC exert a lot of powers and do all they do to make sure that they vilify and victimize people who are of less means. But when it comes to people of substance and high power, the EFCC is completely powerless. Now, it's powerless because there is immense corruption in the system. Okay, look at how their leaders have been taken down one after the other. It's all about corruption. Magu, corruption, went to Hajj and spending money recklessly. The other one, the one that came, the young boy,
Rashid Bawa.
okay, Rashid Bawa, the same thing. Lamude, the same thing, and all that. So we've seen that motif, that corruption running through. That is just their leaders. You also have young operatives who, in fact, in one of the cases in EFCC, that one have been highly repressed. An operative killed another because of the sharing of items,
Sharing formula.
items seized by suspects, from suspects. You understand? So we've had this case. So can the EFCC be purer than the society it operates in? Yes, that if the society it operates in is a recruiting ground that produces the operative that feeds the EFCC, and when it does so, are those persons who are recruited with the EFCC and fed to the EFCC, can they always not be poison to the system? Because what you have is, I mean, the same ground, the same place where everybody wants to do the wrong thing and get away with it. So at the end of the day, you cannot have a Puritan in the EFCC, or you cannot have an EFCC that is better than the system that produces it. The EFCC cannot be better than the Nigerian populace and the conduct of her people, who oftentimes want to do the wrong thing. And so I do not blame the EFCC or something, because the system that produced them and the operative they have is a system that have surrendered long ago
Thank you, Bryce.
to corruption.
Thank you, Bryce. Now, let's just quickly move away from that story and please just wrap up with this. Shetima Builder decry rising population of uneducated kids, urge action. Now, the vice president is urging action. How? Because I see there's an opportunity for them, especially in the north, to get to penetrate them, especially when it's election period, to make them uneducated and have their way to come into power most times. So how do we get to eradicate this uneducated student? Because it is increasing, despite the fact that Jonathan helped to create more Alamajiri schools a few years back.
That's assuming we want to get a solution, right?
Yes.
We want to get the solution to it. You have to make sure that the infrastructure for education is there. Okay. Then make sure to incentivize education. Then I think that Nigerian teachers are due for retraining. Retraining.
Or overhaul.
Well, over. Because we don't know how that will, but retrain basically, and then see how we can that will jack up the, and then it's like incentivize it.
Yes.
Yes, but that is assuming we wanted to get that job done and assuming that it was that we wanted to get a solution. But ignorance is weaponized as much as poverty is also weaponized. It pays them to talk about it glibly, very specifically, but to really get it done, they bring it.
Choma, please explain to me from a woman's point of view. My husband is not greedy. He is working for a better Nigeria. How do you think they say his relative though should be a successful man, and I'll show you a woman that's behind him or so.
She's a helpmate, definitely. So she's definitely helping her husband put the house together.
Now, when you compare the first ladies we've had over the years, do you think this first lady is doing a good enough job?
For me, I would say categorically that I can't really say she's doing a good job. I know how the jurisdiction works. And secondly, she's a help me definitely. Okay. She has the right to come out to see her husband because it's wrong for you can't expect her to say otherwise.
Okay. Because but is this realistic? So about we just before we close on the light because that's it makes it on the goddamn newspaper, yes.
She said that her husband. Yes, we she has to support him. She's his first support, like he's his first cheerleader. And frankly, it's the least she could do.
But unfortunately, she's wrong.
Definitely, that's
she's wrong.
What I'm pointing at.
That's false. You can't. We have not seen that intention. We have not seen the intention where a president will become a capitalist and at the same time a publicist. Not publicist in the sense of those who promote people. I mean,
public.
Yes, yes. So person. So that's what I mean. She should get other issues to talk about. That's I always have problem with her because she doesn't know what to say at every given point. This is not the time to come say that. This time maybe you say perhaps people should be patient or something like that. And even that we have run out of it. We are not. No, I'm not saying it's our responsibility to say what she has said, but I'm saying she
says those
she's wrong.
Not.
Yeah, she's very, very wrong. I'm saying nobody can wrong with that. It's not. We're not saying that.
Okay, thank you. So can we just get your signature?
The evidence really doesn't show that what she said is what we are seeing. Frankly speaking, it doesn't show it. In fact, even if you want to excuse the president on the personal level for want of evidence, look at how he has carried his own brothers and Yoruba compatriots into government. It looks like they are just there to quickly amass as much as they can for the region. I don't think
allegedly.
No, I mean this is evidential. Buhari did it. We are not happy with it. Now Tinubu is also doing the same thing. I don't think it's right.
Okay.
All right, that's about the time we have for this particular segment. I truly enjoyed it so very well. So to say thank you to Cyril Abaku.
Thank you.
Pastor Banks, really thank you. So please.
Thank you.
All right, when we return, Appeal Court upholds nullification of Rivers 2024 budget, recognizes Wiki, aligned lawmakers. Stay with us in the Beta Steel Enterprise Television. Please don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.